Very good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the inaugural session of the third edition of the Digital Transformation Summit that CI is organizing between 22nd to 24th of February. Over the virtual platform, the theme for the summit is Thriving in the New World Order. Canada is the partner country for this edition. During the 3 days of the summit, it would be addressed by over 80 plus speakers and would have 13 plus focus sessions on digital growth story of sectors that have leveraged digital, such as healthcare, life sciences, automotive, infrastructure. To name a few, the summit will be attended by over 4,000 plus delegates from the industry, policymakers, technology experts, academicians, and solution providers, all coming together on a single platform to discuss and share valuable insights through the session with panel discussions on leveraging the benefits of digital transformation across the sectors. Without taking much of the time, may I request Sumit Walia, Chairman of the CI Tata Communications Center for Digital Transformation, to deliver his welcome address. Over to you, Sumit.
Thank you, Ankur, and good morning. A very good morning and welcome to all our guests, my co-chairs, members of the industry. Welcome to the largest, to my mind, the Digital Transformation Summit that we've had in the country, the DX Summit 3.0. Last year at the DX Summit, we recognized the resilience of each one of us and the resilience each one of us demonstrated during the pandemic, and how that resilience has actually bestowed on us and our nation new strengths to mine the hordes of opportunities that lie ahead of us to build an Atmanirbhar India. The great heave of digitization across industries like health tech, payments, along with several others that we have seen in the last year is supported by key government initiatives, including last mile services, PLI schemes to boost production in key sectors, as well as emergency credit schemes that we have seen specifically for the MSMEs. To me, I think all of these aid to our ambition of targeting the goal of 9.3% GDP that the country has laid down for this fiscal. In this evolving landscape, I'm very, very proud that the CII Tata Communication Center for Digital Transformation has actually delivered significant value in areas around skill building, assessment, best practice sharing, awards and recognition, and creating a platform and platform building to driving engagements and bringing various industry leaders like the one we have today to aid the right kind of decision making for thousands of MSMEs, and thereby enabling their transformation through digital technologies. Our principle and our guiding light, if you will, and our purpose of driving awareness about the concepts of digital transformation to drive and accelerate business growth, coupled with the CDT's proprietary, DEXL assessment model, has been very successful in assessing and advising our members on various stages of their digital preparedness. Going ahead, we are now not only looking at the industry and the member accounts or communities, if you will, in general, we are also verticalizing the DEXL approach to cater to actually industry specific requirements as well. As a part of the CDT, we also have the DX catalog, and the DX catalog has really helped solution providers who are looking to scale up their digital journeys and companies to come closer together, share knowledge, drive engagement, and create opportunities for all parties. We have seen a significant increase in the participants for the DX Awards the year that just got concluded, with over 460 applications, which I think is a proof that organizations are starting to view digital technologies as key business enablers in the years ahead. As we look to the year ahead and moving ahead for us at the CII CDT, identification of growth drivers for the economy is a key imperative. And what we are observing are several key industry sectors which will drive scale over the next few years, assisted by strong tailwinds. The pandemic, as I think, put the pharma, life sciences, and healthcare industry to an unimaginable stress test, which we all saw. In sector organizations were really the ones catering to $1 billion plus expectations through significant technology investments aimed at accelerating product development, optimizing supply chains, and therefore, significant increasing the use the generation of data, and then the management and utilization of the data. Similarly, I think the infrastructure, real estate, and the construction sector will have an increasing opportunity and, may I say, responsibility for a robust growth cycle for the economy in this coming decade. The sector is seeing the emergence of very critical technologies playing a key role in mission critical applications, from sector financing or infrastructure financing to construction technologies, enabling innovation, efficiency, and sustainability itself. Technology innovations can go a long, long way in improving quality, cutting costs, enhancing safety, and boosting profits for this sector. And lastly, I think the automotive sector, which is seeing a great amount of technology driven value creation, which is redefining the traditional value chain, is aptly supported by the breadth and depth of how much of data is available. The connected car is the greatest example of that we are seeing coming out of the automotive sector. In the words of our Prime Minister, and I quote, "This crisis actually taught us new lessons, shattered all existing structures, and which lead us to the emergence of a new world order in the post-COVID era." So as India celebrates 75 years of independence, we should envisage a pivotal role for India, emerging as a leader in this new world order, unquote. So really, our theme for the DX Summit, which is thriving in a new world order, has been chosen to enable organizations prepare themselves for the next phase of growth, and really looking at the CII CDT to help them adapt to this constantly changing landscape. My co-chair, Mr. Tharani, will further elaborate on this theme and its importance. Over the next 3 days, we will jointly have the opportunity to explore the role of a robust digital infrastructure and the emerging technologies that are driving the next phase of India's growth. Over 70 experts from both private as well as public sector will shed light on different avenues of role of digital technologies that they play in the management of huge volumes of data, as well as stress upon the need for organizational culture in supporting experimentation and collaboration. Like you, I too look forward to some very thought-provoking insights, engaging sessions, and looking forward to conversations with stakeholders from across the board. I must add, we also look forward to your feedback at the back of every individual session and the overall event itself. Once again, welcome to DX Summit 3.0. As I invite now Mr. Tharani and our other esteemed panelists to kickstart the first session of the day, I'd like to take an opportunity to thank our special partner for this summit, the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Representatives from over 12 technology startups from Canada across the automotive and the construction space will also showcase their innovations and best practices across all our sessions and virtual exhibitions. I encourage you as well to spend time at the exhibition and hope you find them relevant. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Tharani.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you very much, Sumit, for this wonderful, should I say, curtain raiser on this 3-day summit. So first of all, good morning and welcome to each one of you, Mr. Benoit Prefontaine, Dr. Rajendra Kumar, who I'm sure will be joining us very shortly, Sumit, Vinita, Ankur, Suhail, and all my colleagues at CII. So first of all, it's really a pleasure to be here at the 3rd edition of the Digital Transformation Summit, and I feel very proud of the fact that we have been able to get about 4,000 registrations who would actively participate with 80 speakers. So the CII Digital Transformation Summit, I think, is becoming larger, is becoming stronger, is becoming more intense, and yet it is very focused on the 3 sectors that Sumit alluded to. I'm particularly happy to see Canada as the partner country in the DX Summit, and I extend a very special warm welcome. I join Sumit in welcoming several companies from Canada who are participating in the various deliberations. I believe the partnership with Canada will definitely harness the specific expertise which each of these nations bring. And now there are some cultural ties building as well. And I think together we can service global needs even better as we go forward. Talking about the New World Order, I just thought we should reflect on the last 2 years. I think, first of all, we need to recognize that it's the first time in the history of mankind, or at least the best that I know, that the whole world is confronted with the same adversity. Typically, adversities have always happened in pockets, and some part of the world is insulated from that. But in this case, everybody was affected. And I think together as humanity, we managed and faced this adversity together. And I think to that extent, it became very obvious which countries and which economies had great resilience. I feel proud of the fact that India showed unrivaled resilience, extreme agility, and a strong capability to actually not only take reactive actions, but also proactive actions to make sure that we emerge as a case study in just, if I was to look at the pandemic itself, in information dissemination, in tracking, in vaccination, in testing, and prevention of spread. Of course, many of us would like to see many more things which are better than that, but definitely digital technologies played a very, very important role in making all this happen. So I say, what did India demonstrate? India demonstrated, if I was to borrow the title of a 80s book of Nicholas Negroponte, being digital. India demonstrated being digital. Digital became a part of our lives. And Sumit also referred to how that percolated in not only just a response to the pandemic, but also putting India on a stronger growth path through Digital India as well as Atmanirbhar Bharat. So in DX Summit, while on one hand, we are very focused on addressing three sectors, healthcare and life sciences, automotive, infrastructure. These are actually strong growth stories which have propelled the economy. And I think how people from these, or successful entrepreneurs and industrialists from these, will demonstrate how they handled the pandemic and the whole being digital phenomenon. But while focusing on these, we do want to talk about how do we thrive in the new world order. So I do want to talk about the new world order, but I think before we reach thrive, there is a stage called recognize that there is a new world order. Then there is a survive the new world order, and then there is a thrive. So I want to talk about recognize first. I think COVID taught us, if we reflect on that what used to take us a lot of arguments and discussions to figure out whether we should adopt digital technologies or not, in one stroke, in a matter of weeks, everybody was fully aligned with digital adoption. We adopted e-commerce, telemedicine, video conferencing, online learning, online shopping, just about everything we could start use. So therefore, the discussion whether we should be digital, should use technology, should use automation, I don't think it exists anymore. So that's a very significant change which has become important. And we all know that from all of us read the same studies that 70% of new value that will be created in the coming decade will come out of digital technologies. So I think it's just the right thing that we did. In India itself, in last 2 years, we added 44 new unicorns. And in the first 40 days of 2022, added 8 more. So that can show the momentum which digital technologies have actually caused. Many of these unicorns have leveraged digital technologies. So while that is one, true, the new world order is not about digital technologies alone. That's the foundation. I think we realized, or we rediscovered, the human inside us. The human beings showed a much more caring and reflective part of their personalities. People used to be divided in left brain and right brain. I think together we realized that same human being is capable of very easily transitioning from left brain to right brain as he went looking for oxygen cylinders, and some many times in response, or he went looking for how to make sure that my child learns, or how do I make sure that I get a particular item of necessity. So in fact, in this process, we all transformed ourselves into whole brain thinkers. We became more sensitive to environment. Climate, pollution, nature suddenly became very, very important to us. And it's also a coincidence of kind that the climate change effects and the global warming were the agenda which caused the COP26 summit, where actually India took on a bold position. And as a humanity, we agreed that the Earth's temperature rise above below 1.5 degrees centigrade will be good for all of us. Otherwise, we'll all have great issues to handle. So while these are changes that happened, I think very, very important thing is now that the pandemic is ebbing, now whether it will ebb into an endemic or whether it will go away, I'm not going to comment on that. But as it is ebbing, we are actually at the juncture where we can ask ourselves, do we want to go back to the old work order? Or do we want the world order? Or do we want to get to the new world order? I think there is enough argument that the new world order is a better choice, where we have discovered better ways of living, better ways of conducting ourselves, better ways of learning, better ways of treating, better ways of just about doing anything. The fact that digital technologies are a part of this narrative, I think we can take it very clearly that digital is not only just a competitive advantage, but will be the DNA of the new world order. Sustainability, inclusiveness, universal access will be some of the other dimensions that I think we will discover in this new world order. Now, while we will discuss in this summit the three sectors, healthcare, life sciences, automotive, and infrastructure, these sectors have taken significant advantages of digital technologies and are actually showing signs of how the new world order will look like. And to that extent, it will be very useful. So the fact that we recognize that new world order is on us, and the fact that we use digital technologies will help us survive, but not yet thrive. Because for thriving in the world order, I think there is an issue which covers all the sectors, every part of society, and that is this issue about talent. We nowadays talk about a war for talent, right? What is the war for talent coming from? One is the sudden acceleration in demand, which happened after having seen low times for the first couple of quarters, and then suddenly a sharp increase in demands created, strongly driven by digital transformation, is one reason. The stagnant and inadequate quality of talent supply, because the education system also actually was struggling. The great resignation, which is a new phenomenon which we are discovering as a humanity. In US, 75.5 million Americans resigned from their jobs in calendar year 2021, having received a very strong support from the government in the previous times to cope up with the pandemic, because they suddenly realized that they don't want to work in the same job in which they were earlier. In Indian version of that is visible to us. The burnout and work from home permanently and new occupations are causing the great resignation problem in India. Yesterday, Economic Times front page, it was an ad by an IT company, but it said 74% employees are 100% sure about flexible remote work, which means if I landed up in Mussoorie or Nainital or my parental home in a far remote part of India and was able to work from there, now I don't want to come back. Even if you want me to come back, I'm not coming back. And by the way, I have discovered there are better jobs available for me. So I think this is a very, very important issue which is causing the sudden demand increase, and coupled with the great resignation is causing the war for talent, and specifically war for digital talent. the winner, the person or the organizations which will thrive in the new world order are not those which adopt digital transformation, are not those which just take care of all the new world order ingredients, but who learn how to respond to this talent shortage, attract people to work with them, retain people to be with them, and then grow their organizations with this volatility in the workplace that we will all notice. What will this involve? Very deep and intensive skilling and reskilling uh, in digital technology, which is the hard element of it, but there are soft elements of it. We used to talk about organization culture. Suddenly, the organization culture has come on the forefront of how an organization looks at its people. How does that organization promote virtual teamwork or remote working? How does the organization look at binding people together with a chemical bond called culture? And how do we deal with the multi-generational workforce where the millennials and the centennials and the baby boomers all will coexist, having never met each other? So I think, how will this happen? And the retention will not only have about reskilling and skilling, but also about flexibility and the care that people provide. We saw the big news item when CEO of a large technology company took paternity leave. Now, it shows that the organization cares, and that's a message which people are talking about. So the good news is, for thriving or surviving or recognizing, the Center for Digital Transformation has a full repertoire of services. Sumit alluded to them, and I will not repeat, and we will discover those. But CDT, in partnering together with organizations, will not only help organizations recognize the importance of the New World Order as well as digital transformation, will not only prepare them through advisory services and will help them manage their roadmap through the Dexel framework. I think these are very interesting times for Center for Digital Transformation to be here. I do want to say that, and I have said this on a couple of occasions for some other issues, many, many years, many decades later, when history is written, we'll actually wonder whether COVID came first or CDT came first. Whether CDT came as a response to COVID, because it is so perfectly fitting that I think it is just compelling for all of us to work with CDT. I also understand CDT is now going to spread its wings to work with CII state offices, and we look forward to the assimilation of digital technologies right to the most remotest parts of the country. We do have 3 days of interesting deliberations and discussions, and I'm sure each one of us will get a chance to not only experience the capability of CDT, but also the results which CDT has been able to cause through virtual exhibitions. So welcoming you once again, and wishing the DX Summit 3.0 great success. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thadani, in fact, for this inspiring words, and thank you, Sumit, for the welcome and your address. I'll now request my colleague, Colonel Suhail Zaidi, who heads the CDT for us, to briefly talk about the 12 digital commandments that we have come out. Over a period of 3 days, we will be talking widely about these commandments, that why and how it is important for the small and the medium enterprises to move towards digital adoption. Suhail, over to you.
Thank you, Ankur. So during the first DX Summit, we had released 7 commandments, which were at a very higher level for the organizations to adopt their digital journey. Now in this DX Summit 3.0, we intend to release a few more points for the MSME members and even otherwise for the industry. Because the digital transformation is no more an option for any business, it is the essential aspect for existence, growth, and future. we request the members, even the participants, to pledge to undertake the following changes, oblique activities in their businesses, which will help them in adoption of the digital journey. The first point is optimize business processes by identifying and eliminating the non-value adding activities. Secondly, bring in a culture of digital first in all business processes. Ensure the business strategy and the digital strategy are well aligned for any organization. Lead from the front in ensuring successful implementation of your specific digital strategy. Then it will be ideal to create a right organization structure to ensure success of all digital initiatives. Encourage the culture of innovation across the entire organization. Innovate people across the entire value chain in all digital initiatives. Upskill oblique reskill the team in all relevant new technologies as applicable. Understand the power of data and ensure clean, current, and accurate data, which is very important for digital to be successful. Identify, measure, and benchmark performance matrices for all business processes. And last but not the least, ensure that the front end, which is basically the website, application, stores, and the back end, the CRM, ERP, billing system, etc., are in sync with each other. With that, I'll be sharing these commandments with all our members. Now, I would like to invite our Consular General for Canada in Bangalore, Mr. Bennett Prefonte, High Commission of Canada. He is BSc Economics, University of Montreal, MA Economics, University of Ottawa, joined the Department of External Affairs in 1987. Until recently, he was High Commissioner for Canada to Bangladesh, that is from 2017 to 22. At headquarters, his most recent role was Deputy Inspector General of Global Affairs Canada and concurrently Director of Mission Inspection Division. In his previous assignments at headquarters, Mr. Prefonte was Director of Aerospace, Automotive, Defense, and Information Communication Technologies Division, which was from 2008 to 2011, and as Deputy Director of South Asia Division, 1999 to 2001, in Exports Finance Division, 1991 to 1993, and in the Defense Programs Bureau Overseas, 87 to 88. With that, may I request Mr. Benefonte to please bring his opening remarks in. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the very generous introduction. Please let me begin by congratulating and thanking the organizers, the distinguished speakers, the participants, and everyone else playing a role in this edition of DX Summit. In particular, I would like to thank Mr. Tadani for his kind words about Canada-India relations and CII for collaborating with us toward this event and for giving me the opportunity to share a few of my thoughts. This is my second diplomatic assignment to India. The first one was in Delhi. And I'm delighted that it coincides with the 75th anniversary of Indian independence. So much has happened in India since I had been here previously. But Canada and India continue to enjoy a strong relationship built on shared values and growing people-to-people and economic ties. In the 18 years that separate my two assignments in India, the people of Indian descent who have made Canada their home has nearly doubled to reach 1.5 million people, greatly enriching the fabric of Canadian society and bilateral relationship with India. This DX Summit comes at a time when multiple global challenges ranging from the COVID-19 pandemic, the worsening climate change threats, and now various disruptions to our supply chains and to the economic world order we had known in recent decades. Combined, these challenges create a lot of uncertainty. But we can also look at this as an opportunity, according to many people. At a time for us, it's a time for us to come together and rebuild our economies better, to innovate and to strive for a more secure future. I have no doubt that the business community will adapt and find a way forward. Today, I want to share three main messages during my short remarks. First, I want to take a quick stock of how the recent events have affected bilateral economic relations. Secondly, I want to talk about the complementarity of India's automotive and digital industries with those of countries such as Canada. And finally, how to harness our reciprocal strengths as we work towards increasing business linkages and investments. So, as we all know, most global economies have already experienced growth setbacks, and things might get worse before they get better. But for me, the bottom line is that international trade and collaboration can and must continue to increase despite the pandemic-related challenges, and it's crucial to continue on this path. At the same time, there are more and more discussions about the need for self-sufficiency. So is there a way for countries such as India and Canada to strive for self-sufficiency in some areas, while also benefiting from our important trade partnerships? So while it's widely known that Canada has been ramping up its investments in India and that we believe in this market, I want you, the Indian participants in this summit, to know that nearly 100 Indian companies are also established in Canada as successful investors. The fact that more business communities are investing, that are reciprocal business communities, rather, are investing in each other means a lot to our governments. And this is now a major pillar of our bilateral relationship. There are so many examples of this, and in both directions. I like to think that Canada has been rewarding and a rewarding and dependable investment destination for Indian companies, as it provides reliable government policies, conducive infrastructure, and favorable guidelines facilitating ease in doing business for Indian companies. Beyond investment, though, there are great opportunities for Canada and India to cooperate in emerging areas such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data solutions in security, enterprise software, life science, and the list goes on and on. Canada's innovation hubs are thriving places for cutting-edge technology, and one of the areas where Canadian innovation are providing solutions to the business around the globe is cybersecurity. But we can't do everything within Canada. Given the complementarity between our two technology ecosystems, and with Canada's rapid progress in key areas of digital innovation, I see a great potential where our two countries can work together to solve problems, then apply these technologies in real-life situations. Healthcare is another area where Canada-India linkages are already strong and are steadily moving up the value chain beyond a simple supplier-buyer relationship. And it's clearly a win-win scenario. The reliable, dependable, and stable bilateral relationship India has built with Canada and many other countries over the last 75 years is an important underpinning for everything we can hope to accomplish together. These bilateral relationships are an asset which the business community can benefit from and start leveraging more actively. My second point I wanted to raise today is about complementarity. So when I think of the Indian and Canadian economies, I see so much more complementarity than in the past. It varies from sector to sector, of course, but in the case of the automotive and digital industries, it's a no-brainer. And this is why a large Canadian delegation is participating in DX Summit this year. It may surprise you, but automotive manufacturing is the second largest industrial. It long consisted mainly of motor vehicle assembly, truck body, trailer production, and auto parts. But the whole automotive sector is going through an exciting period of change, and it is racing towards a new world driven by sustainability and evolving consumer behavior. Canada and India have embraced the necessary shift in the automotive industry, which will be known more broadly as the mobility industry in the coming years. Both countries are adapting in areas such as electric vehicles, connected cars, mobility fleet sharing, alternative fuel options, and onboard sensors, for example. Canada has the expertise to analyze and secure the big data that connected vehicles are already starting to produce. Canadian companies are working with global OEMs to process massive volumes of data and optimize the performance of entire networks of vehicles. And Canadians need partnerships in countries such as India. Indian companies are attractive because they have different supply chains, competitive advantages, different focus on other markets than the Canadians do. It's that complementarity that brings us here at the DX Summit. I mentioned only a few areas of expertise represented by the 17 Canadian organizations who are registered in this summit. So I encourage summit participants to attend the workshops scheduled on Thursday, February 24th at 6:30 p.m. if you want to get the full picture directly from these Canadian organizations. So thank you very much for listening to why I think Canada, India are natural partners for trade. And I don't mean in areas like natural resources, minerals, forestry, agriculture. I'm thinking about technology and innovation. This is where we see the big growth, the big potential. So in closing, I would like to leave you with one more thought about how we can assist with increasing commercial linkages and support your success with Canadian organizations. So the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service is Canada's promotion arm with a presence of in over 160 cities around the world. Its officers, as in the case of my colleagues participating today in this summit, are dedicated to advancing trade and investment relationship with foreign countries with a focus on Canadian exports, Canadian investments abroad, and the attraction of foreign investment into Canada. We do the whole spectrum of business partnerships. Against that backdrop, I can proudly say that the Trade Commissioner Service here in India is among the top 3 locations for Canada in the world. You want to do business with Canada? Well, please connect with any of our 8 offices across India, in New Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chandigarh, Ahmedabad, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Kolkata. Canada's footprint in India is also augmented by the presence of our sister export credit agency, EDC, Export Development Canada, and by the presence of our provincial partners, with the provinces of Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, British Columbia, and Saskatchewan, all present here in India. So I hope that the Trade Commissioner Service can help you to make Canada a partner of choice. We've already seen exponential growth and collaboration in sectors such as technology, infrastructure, smart cities, energy. I believe we can also work together to respond to the demands of sectors such as automotive and digital industries and life sciences. So I wish all of you a very successful DX Summit 3.0. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Excellency, for this address. And during 3 days, we look forward to have a very fruitful collaboration between the two countries, and we are looking forward to the technical sessions on 24th at 6:30 by the Canadian companies, please. And ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Dr. Rajendra Kumar, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technologies, Government of India. So without taking much of the time, may we request for your kind inaugural address, please. Over to you, Dr. Kumar.
To be a slight bandwidth issue.
I believe there is some connectivity problem and the ministry will log in the next couple of seconds with us. Yes, we have Dr. Kumar with us. Dr. Kumar, may we request for your kind inaugural address, please?
Yeah, thank you so much, and very good morning to everyone, all my fellow panelists, all participants in the audience. I hope I am audible and visible.
Yes, please, you are, please.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, as you already have heard from several experts before me on the theme of digital transformation, so let me talk about digital transformation in the context of the broader domains of governance and economy. So, as you may be aware, Government of India launched the very ambitious Digital India program way back in 2015. And it has been now almost 7 years since this overall broad umbrella program of Digital India is being implemented. It has tried to bring all the digital initiatives, digital interventions across the entire government within this overall theme of Digital India, which aims at transforming the Indian society, Indian economy, and governance through digital interventions to bring maximum benefits to citizens and businesses and to the larger economy. There have been a very remarkable achievements under this program in the last 7 years, but I will not go into details of that because I'm sure many of the participants would be aware of the major achievements. In terms of the vision that we have for the next 4 to 5 years in the broad domain of digital transformation, let me focus on the way forward in what we feel is the most optimum initiative that could be taken to really achieve the goal of digital transformation in the next 4 to 5 years. In 2019, METI laid out a roadmap for this transformation through the $1 trillion digital economy vision, which I'm sure many of the participants are aware of. This vision, it basically lays out the roadmap for digital transformation over the next 4 to 5 years in terms of achieving the maximum benefits in society, in governance and economy. The broad pillars on which this entire vision is based upon, those are very significant areas about which I would like to mention a little bit. So the broad pillars on which this entire vision is based on, they basically cover 6 areas. First is the provisioning of quality digital infrastructure, which is actually one of the key goals under the current program as well. But now the goal is to take the digital infrastructure across the entire country to a whole new level, in the sense that the goal is to reach every part of the country, including all the rural areas, and to reach every citizen. So under that broad vision, you might have noticed the initiative that the government has taken, especially for ensuring rural broadband connectivity under the BharatNet program, which has now been slated for completion in the next 2 years. We also have very ambitious plans for 5G rollout, which will provide a great boost to the digital and connectivity infrastructure. In addition to that, uh, many of the state government, they also have goals to reach every through high speed and very reliable connectivity, either based on fiber to the home or providing high speed mobile broadband. So these initiatives we feel can really take India to the next level in terms of achieving the goal of digital transformation. And this should help us in really achieving the target of $1 trillion digital economy by 25-26. The next major pillar for this entire vision is based on moving from the current applications based approach in various domains to a platform approach. So this basically aims at converting the current domain applications to major sectoral platforms, which would help in integrating the diverse set of applications running in those particular domains, and also ensuring that the interface that the citizens and businesses have to really avail services from that domain, they are unified and made seamless. One example of this approach is the National Digital Health Mission, which I am sure all of you are aware, because this has been talked about on a number of occasions. Our Honorable Prime Minister has launched this program just a few months back. And as a part of this health mission, we are seeing major initiatives like the unique digital health account or ID that is now being given to all citizens. All the healthcare ecosystem players, they are being brought onto one common digital platforms. So we are trying to bring all the providers, all the doctors, all the labs, all the insurance companies onto one common digital platform, so that the service delivery, the service discovery can be made seamless for the citizens and beneficiaries from both private and public healthcare providers. Another part of this effort is the COVID platform, which I am again sure is very well known, which is the world's largest platform for vaccination, totally digital, completely seamless in terms of service delivery, and real-time delivery for all the citizens who wish to avail vaccination. This is the world's largest platform for vaccination that we can definitely say with pride. Under this broad platform approach, we also have the common building blocks which have been built by MeitY. For example, we have the nationwide digital ID platform, the Aadhaar platform, which again provides real-time authentication of identities of citizens in a very seamless and very easy to use manner. We have the unified payments interface, the UPI interface, again the world's largest for real-time payments across all the banks, and also very easy to use, and that is one of the reasons why it has grown so fast in such a short time. We also have the government e-marketplace, again the world's largest platform for government procurement, totally digital, totally seamless, totally online. We have a number of such initiatives. We have the GST network, again, perhaps the world's largest platform, totally digital again. So all these platforms that I just mentioned, there are many more. They are built at a scale, at population scale, and they are easily the world's largest in terms of their scope, scale, and the way they provide real-time seamless delivery through completely online mechanisms. So this approach, where we convert the domain applications to sectoral platforms, that again, we hope can unlock the productivity in those domains and sectors and take us to the level of $1 trillion in the next 5 years in terms of our digital economy's size and contribution. The third major pillar of this vision of digital transformation through this broad vision that he has put is to focus on electronics manufacturing. Again, you must have seen the major steps that government has taken, the major schemes that we have launched. For example, the focus on semiconductor manufacturing, the advanced capabilities that we hope to have in terms of electronic components manufacturing. So all this all these are the focus areas for the next 4 to 5 years, and we hope to take the entire electronics manufacturing ecosystem from the present level of about $75 billion to $300 billion in the next 4 to 5 years. Again, a very ambitious program envisioned at a grand scale, and we all are working really very hard with all the stakeholders from both the government and the private sector to really achieve this vision. The fourth pillar of this entire digital transformation roadmap is focused on bringing in modern digital laws and a good data protection regime in the country. So as you may be aware, the data protection bill is now at the advanced stage of consideration. And we hope that in the coming months that can become a law. And that would provide a great support to the emerging economy in India that is innovation driven and that is data driven. Because that would put the entire data handling, the personal data handling on a very sound legal footing. And that's the goal of the efforts in the last few years to bring in a data protection regime in India, which is on par with the best in the world and perhaps the world's most contemporaneous regime that we can think of. We also are working on amendments in the IT regime, IT law regime that we have, the IT Act that is now almost more than 20 years old. And we hope that with the efforts that currently we are undertaking, we can really bring in the latest cutting edge concepts in our legal framework for the IT sector and for the digital transformation. The fifth pillar of this entire roadmap is based on cybersecurity and capacity building. Just to let all the participants know, last year's ranking by UN ITU for the Global Cybersecurity Index, it put India at number 10 in the world out of 180 plus countries in terms of the cybersecurity capabilities. And that's a jump of 37 places from the year before. So we can just see the focus and efforts that we are putting on the entire domain of cybersecurity, not only from the point of view of, securing our IT systems and responding to the emerging challenges, but also becoming proactive and ensuring that our digital systems are safe from any malicious attempts or attacks coming from wherever. Also, we are focusing on building capacities within the country in cybersecurity across all the domains. We also are educating our citizens to really practice good cyber hygiene procedures. So all this is, we hope, going to really build the digital capacities in India at a scale that we hope can take us to the goal of $1 trillion digital economy in the next 4 to 5 years. We also are working very closely with our stakeholders across the entire spectrum, including economy, including civil society organizations, and of course our citizens, which are the key stakeholders in this entire journey. We also are working very closely with the state governments, which again, they are at the cutting edge of service delivery to the citizens. And there, I think, without their deep involvement and commitment, we cannot really achieve the vision of digital transformation in the next 4 to 5 years. So our goal is to ensure that we focus on these domains as the key areas where the efforts at digital interventions can really bring very good results for us in terms of supporting the growth of the economy and also in terms of ensuring that we can become the global hub for almost everything that is related to digital. One more area where I can where we have put a lot of focus is in terms of building capabilities in creating very large data centers, because as we're all aware, the needs of the country are growing manifold with time. And our industry also is growing. This year, the growth is projected to be significantly higher at 15% plus. That is the fiscal year 21-22. And this is going to perhaps be there for some more years as a result of the new normal post-pandemic. So we think that improving our digital infrastructure, for example, also building or supporting the growth of new data centers, new cloud capabilities, is going to serve the needs of the private sector and the government in a big way in the time to come. So that's another focus area. Recently, the budget for this year has announced the status of infrastructure for the data center industry that is going to help them to bring down the operational cost and also ensure that funding is available as a priority lending to that sector. So that's another major step that the government has announced for the entire digital sector in India. And I'm sure with the support that we are getting from all the stakeholders, especially from the private sector, our advanced R&D capabilities, our academic institutes, that is going to serve us quite well in the time to come. And one more area where we think we can really focus upon is in the domain of emerging technologies, where currently we are operating 25 centers of excellence across the entire country, which have been set up in partnership with the state governments and the industry, where the focus is to really develop these technologies, do advanced R&D, and then deploy them in our industry, in government domains, where they can bring very efficient gains in service delivery or improving the economic productivity, etc. So that's another major area where we think we can really achieve excellent results if we can focus our efforts. There is also a program, national program on AI, which is under consideration, which we hope will get approved in the coming months, where again the focus is to ensure that we can use these technologies to the maximum extent in improving our governance, improving our economy, and encouraging our industry. India, as you're aware, is already the world's third largest startup ecosystem. And in terms of the growth, we are seeing phenomenal growth in the last couple of years. And this year, just in the last 45 days, we have seen the emergence of 8 new unicorns on top of the 44 that we had last year. And that shows the traction that this entire ecosystem has received in India, both from the supportive government policies and from the support that is coming from the private sector in terms of funding, in terms of mentoring, and in terms of the overall opportunities that the Indian economy is throwing up. So I would like to conclude by saying that we are in for very exciting times in the years to come insofar as the digital interventions and the focus on digital transformation is concerned. And in the government, we are very excited at the prospects that we are seeing all around us in terms of the benefits that we can bring through digital interventions across the entire spectrum of our activity, including governance, economy, and the larger society. So let me conclude at this point by conveying my best wishes to this event and to the deliberations that lie ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kumar, for this wonderful address. And it's a great work which the government is doing in any case on the digital side. And we from the industry look forward to working very closely with the government on achieving the $1 trillion digital economy at the earliest. Mr. Thadani, I think you want to say something, please, or?
No.
Okay, sure. So without taking much of the time, may I now invite Vinita Gera, Senior Director, Dell Technologies, to deliver the vote of thanks for the inaugural session. Vinita, over to you.
Thank you, Ankur, and a big thank you, everyone, but in particular, Consul General of Canada to India, Mr. Benoit, Dr. Rajendra Kumar, Additional Secretary, METI Government of India, Mr. Sumit Walia, Chairperson, Tata Communications CII, Center for Digital Transformation, Mr. Tharani, co-chair and founder visionary for CDT, Ankur and Colonel Zedi, and all members from the CII CDT, friends from the media, and all the guests attending. Thank you for your presence and participation in this inaugural session of the third edition of Digital Transformation Summit. 4,000 registrations and 80 plus speakers. Wow, this is bigger than ever and makes us all so proud. So thank you for registering in such large numbers, and we hope you leverage the rich content that this conference provides in the next 3 days. I'd like to thank Mr. Sumit Walia for the amazing opening for the 3-day conference and setting the stage so beautifully about the conference and providing us a whole picture of the current tech socio-economic scenario in the industry and the country. Mr. Thadani, sir, as always, you paint a picture on the canvas with such amazing visionary leadership and an unmatched ability to simplify the new world order. Your deliberation on how we move forward in this new way order of the world, where digital is the DNA or will be the DNA across sustainability and inclusion, are business imperatives. Your response to the talent shortage that the world is facing and its connection with digital transformation, bringing out the common adversity that COVID has given us, was amazing. Colonel Suhail Zaidi, thank you for sharing the 12 commandments and the code for digital transformation. It's an excellent and solid framework for all organizations on the digital journey. And every time you present this, it's a constant reminder and literally a DNA for all of us. Thank you and merci beaucoup, Mr. Benoit, for your sincere highlight of the challenges like self-sufficiencies and trade partnerships. Thanks for highlighting the areas beyond the strategic investment of Canada and India. The partnership on AI, cybersecurity, healthcare that you spoke about sound very exciting. The bilateral relationship, which is truly an asset and so beneficial to businesses across the two countries. Also, a special thank you to all our Canadian delegates attending the summit this year. I think the natural partnerships that you highlighted, sir, on the tech and innovation, which is at the heart of our DNA for many of us in India. Finally, thank you, Dr. Rajendra Kumar, Additional Secretary, for your optimistic insights and providing us the vision for the next 4 to 5 years. It is exciting to live through the vision that you have laid out of the METI, from the METI and the transformation roadmap on the pillars of quality digital infrastructure, health infrastructure, standardization of platform. And this one is huge. The standardization of healthcare is huge for generations to come, not just for us. The financial digitization, how we've done GST network, it's amazing. The COVID platform, it's amazing to see the scale. And looking at our high population, I think this couldn't have been done without a solid foundation of technology and the department's leadership. As citizens, we are seeing the effects of this progress already in very far off parts of the country, not just cities. As leaders in the private tech sector, we see huge progress and are very excited and very optimistic of the direction the country is headed under your leadership. So thank you for that. I'd like to wrap up my vote of thanks with a reminder that for the next 3 days, the team has put up a very rich agenda. We've got 80 plus speakers. Please leverage the best of these. We have healthcare today, infrastructure tomorrow on 23rd, and automotive sector on the 24th. Thank you and stay tuned as we move into the next session, which is leveraging digital for the healthcare and life sciences sector. Back to you, Ankur.
Thank you so much, Benita. Thank you. So with this, we bring to the close of the inaugural session, and from our side, thanks to the esteemed speakers for this wonderful inaugural session. We request the delegates to please stay connected for the next session, as Vinita mentioned a couple of minutes back. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Hmm.